Alright, it's time to listen to the next Marilyn Manson song. No Funeral Without Applause. I just spent this morning working on the edit for Fundamentally Loathsome Part 3. It's turning out really well. I'm really loving it. It's really cool. I think you're gonna love it when it comes out. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about No Funeral Without Applause. Now, I'm excited now, because, see, last time when we did One Assassination Under God, I was excited, but, you know, the thing is, with these music video ones, I've been kind of getting sick of the music videos, because it's like, I gotta talk about two things. I gotta talk about the song, I gotta talk about the video. I'm kind of excited now, because we're done with the videos, and we can just focus on the songs. There's nothing in the way, getting in the way between us and the song. It's just us and the song together at last. And that's great. I'm pulling up the lyrics to this song right now so I don't forget. So I can just listen to this song, and you know what? It'll take less time to edit this video because I won't have to worry about the video, trying to edit the video into the thing, and I will be probably talking for less time because there'll be less to distract us. So that's good. But I guess we'll begin, and we'll just pause whenever I have something to say, either about the music or the lyrics. Pause in between all the lyrics, of course, to read them, because I'm not gonna try to figure out what he's saying just by listening to it. That's pointless with Manson. You gotta be able to read along. Anyway, let's go. I'm excited. No Funeral Without Applause. Oh, by the way, the title. Okay. Before we get into it, the title, No Funeral Without Applause, it reminds me of in the last song when he goes, You will always be entertained. Similar idea. He was talking about them being entertained by his execution. And by the way, the whole thing with the goat, somebody pointed out that it could be about a scapegoat, which makes total sense, because a scapegoat is a goat that was sacrificed in lieu of a person, and he's holding this sort of rope around the goat's neck. And then there's another part of the video where he's shown under this tree, and when I was watching it, I did have this thought. I didn't say it in the video, but I did have this thought that the tree kind of reminded me of like a tree that you would hang someone on. And I think that was intentional. I'm probably not going to edit the clips into this because I'm too lazy. But, you know, watch the music video for One Assassination Under God if you want to know what I'm talking about. There's a part where he has a goat. There's a part where he's next to a tree. So anyway, let's listen to this. Another one of these sort of quieter intros. Loving it. Got a little bit of a grunge sound to it. I kind of wish, though, that some of these intros would just keep going. Because what tends to happen is that the song picks up and gets really kind of boosted and changes into something else. But the intros often sound so interesting and good, and I want to hear what that sound would be like extrapolated into a full song. But let's continue.
It just started with a dotted line. Skin is whiter than a surgical glove. I need somebody to stitch me up so I don't bleed on the one I love.
Okay, so it actually is kind of continuing, which I like. Great sound so far. It's got kind of a groove to it. It just started with a dotted line. Skin is whiter than a surgical glove. I need somebody to stitch me up so I don't bleed on the one I love. So dotted line could refer to, like, if you're cutting on a dotted line, like surgery, perhaps. I don't know if they make dotted lines in surgery. They might. I don't know. It seems like they would make a solid line if they're going to draw a line at all, which I don't see why they necessarily would. But, it's a metaphor. The idea of a dotted line, we understand that instinctively as this is where you cut, or this is where you tear the piece of paper. Skin is wider than a surgical glove. That could be referring to maybe, that is meant to kind of tell you what the dotted line reference is about, surgery. Or being cut open, perhaps, autopsy. And the reason I say autopsy is because the skin is whiter than this white skin, meaning dead, basically. So this could be an autopsy or a taxidermy. We've seen a lot of taxidermy references on this album so far. At least 2. So that seems like where we're going. And it's interesting, like, what's the significance of taxidermy? Taking a dead body, flaying it, and turning that skin into something else. Propping it up for display, like killing someone in order to turn him into a model.
All that's lost and all that's forgotten. There'll be no funeral without applause. All that's lost and all that's forgotten. There'll be no funeral without applause.
I like the overdub with him doing the kind of, what do you call it? That higher falsetto deal. What? I'm trying to remember what other song he did that on. I can't remember.
Just a little cut to make it all feel better. There's so many scars from what it used to be. You're the only thing in this fucking world that can fill this hole inside of me.
Okay. So he's referencing someone he loves earlier, and then he says, "You're the only thing in this fucking world that could fill this hole inside of me," given kind of a Coma White impression here. Not sure what the concept here is with the cut to make it all feel better. Sometimes you need to drain a wound or something. You need to drain an infection by cutting it. There's so many scars from what it used to be. I mean, that's both talking about his body and how he scarred his body by mutilating himself on stage. But also how that was done also as a metaphor for the way he's emotionally scarred. But that's what it used to be. So it's not what he is anymore, which is interesting. Yeah, he's kind of implying that he's gone through a kind of growth here. I really do like the sound on this. It's nice.
You can send away your firing squad. You're gonna need to behead me.
I'm sorry, what? The ads on Genius. I wish I were using Brave. I type everything into the Google thing instead of on Brave. I should just use Brave. They messed up my placement on the lyrics, so I'm... Hold on, let me go back.
Can send away your firing squad. You're gonna need to behead me. Immoral, looking to be immortal, but nothing fits to a T.
Okay. So, I mean, we have things in here that I'm recognizing some significance to, but how they fit together, I'm not sure. Immoral, looking to be immortal. That's very interesting, isn't it? It's a very similar kind of idea that or a similar construction that I used on my poem, The Great or Good, where I said, a life bent over that eschews the immortal for the moral muse. And there I was talking about the difference between being great and being good. And being great is being immortal, and being good is being moral. So I was talking about how we must sort of humiliate ourselves or humble ourselves. And those words mean the same thing, but they have two different connotations. And so however you view the concept of being good versus being great, the lens through which you view that concept determines whether you see this life bent over as humiliation or humility. So immoral looking to be immortal, it's almost like he's sort of challenging this Antichrist persona of his, and by extension the whole Marilyn Manson persona, and viewing it as immoral looking to be immortal. But nothing fits to a T. Ah, okay, so fits to a T, like being crucified. That's being in a T shape. That's clever. And there we have this idea that in death we have immortality and morality. Perhaps we have a sort of challenge to that idea too. Perhaps we're seeing him making a connection between him and Jesus Christ. I'm not exactly sure though. And you can send away your firing squad, you're going to need to behead me. Perhaps beheading, removing his brain, removing his mouth, removing his, the organs that sort of make up his ability to express himself. But then, with beheading, we also have cut the head off, grows back hard. So Manson has talked about coming back from being beheaded before. So like I said, there's all these ideas here that this verse brings about in my mind, but I'm not sure how they all fit together. I'm already singing along with it, which is a good sign, shows that this is actually a good song. This might actually be my favorite song so far that we've heard on this album. Applause, all that's lost and all that's forgotten. There'll be no funeral without applause. Just a little cut to make it all feel better. There's so many scars from what it used to be. You're the only thing in this fucking world that can fill this hole inside of. Didn't I say on one of his songs that it sounded like, what am I saying? Like, High End of Low, Fully Realized? Was that on the first one? Was that on As Sick as the Secrets Within? Because that's what I'm getting here. Not just High End of Low, but also Eat Me, Drink Me. I'm getting this sort of Eat Me, Drink Me, High End of Low thing, but like way better than it was done on those albums. Because I don't think those albums are particularly good. The sound just wasn't quite fully realized, as I said. This one sounds really good, even though it kind of sounds like it's trying to do something similar to those ones. It's emotional. There's a kind of an atmosphere to it. So, I mean, wherever I end up putting this album in the ranking, it's definitely going to be above those albums. See, this part is reminding me of As Sick as the Secrets Within, where he goes, keep sleeping, I'll make you dream of me. sounds great. I don't want to stop the music. But I gotta talk about this bridge. I'm just gonna let it play till the end. Because I'm loving this so much. Tourniquet. That's something it reminds me of. This is like a classic Marilyn Manson song. This feels like another. You know how I said that Sacrilegious felt very classic because it reminded me of songs like Disposable Teens. This one is doing. This one's giving like a really strong Marilyn Manson vibe, but a different kind of Marilyn Manson. Something we have seen before, but a different thing we have seen before. So we have to cover this bridge. So cover up all the mirrors. Cauterize all of the lies. Stop the hands on the clock forever and forget what we left behind. This song almost feels like he's putting himself in a grave. Like he's willingly just offering up Marilyn Manson to be slaughtered and sacrificed. Like, you want Marilyn Manson? Here he is. I'll give him to you. Have fun. And we have these references to someone he loves. I'm thinking this is referring to his wife, probably. And this way where he can kind of, with her, just kind of forget about the world, forget about the past, make a clean break and move on from here. Cover up all the mirrors. I really like that. Like that kind of that morality that doesn't question itself, that doesn't look itself in the face. All that's lost and all that's forgotten. There'll be no funeral without applause. Really interesting song. Really great sound. Really great lyrics. I'm gonna have to come back to this later. I've gotten so much out of this one. This is definitely, without question, my favorite song on the album that I've listened to so far. I like this one more than any of those singles. In fact, I kind of don't know why this one wasn't chosen to be a single. This is the first time where I'm actually like getting really excited about this album and what it could be. Because you might have noticed in these reactions, I've been kind of just like, okay, this is interesting. Let's watch this. All right, let's notice this. You know, I've been kind of very just matter of fact about it all, and that's because that's kind of how I felt about this album. Maybe with the first video I was really interested in what was going on because he was presenting something new with that AI imagery, and with the song like in his voice being new and different. Oh, and by the way, the voice on this doesn't sound like the new Manson voice as much, does it? Let me listen again.
So I don't bleed on the one I love.
Yeah, no, it sounds more old school. It doesn't sound like that really crisp, crystal clear, weird thing that he has now with those other songs. There's a little bit of that. But it if anything, it gives me more of an old, like Tourniquet, for instance. Like, it does kind of straight up sound like that. Or perhaps even High End of Low. So that's another thing. But yeah, the sound goes really well, by the way, with this cover art. I really, I liked this cover art from the minute I saw it, but the more I sit with it and listen to the music with it, it fits really well. And seeing it actually, because I don't think I've seen it in like a crystal clear high definition like this before. Because right now I'm watching the upload that recently came out of this song on his channel, and it has this really crystal clear art to it. I can see all the details and the brush strokes with the watercolor. I love the use of that kind of yellowish brown on the right side of it, bleeding out into the background as well. But yeah, overall, great sound, great song. I'm excited. Finally. Finally, I'm actually excited about this album. It took a long time. I really did not care really one way or the other about this album until now. But that's my reaction to No Funeral Without Applause. This is VEDN Day 24. I'll see you tomorrow for VEDN Day 25.